Final Cut runs on the Apple Mac OS X platform. If you've never used a Mac, this section will get you up to speed. The row of icons along the bottom of the screen is called the dock. These icons show the different applications available to use. Click an icon once to open a program. Open applications show a small white dot under the icon to indicate that the program is in use. The Mac uses the Finder window as its main tool for navigating the contents of the computer. Open it using the Finder icon on the far left side of the dock. While most of your editing and clip sorting work will take place within the Final Cut software, you will use the Finder to do basic file management. The menu bar is the white stripe across the top of the monitor. On a Mac, all open programs share the menu bar. On the far left, you'll always see the name of the program that is currently running. In this case, it's Final Cut Pro. To quit any program, click the program's name and select Quit from the drop-down menu. Each program has its own set of menus, but many are the same. You'll recognize File, Edit, Window, and Help in most programs. PC users are familiar with using the Control key for handy shortcuts like Save, Copy, and Undo. On a Mac, the Command key is more commonly used. Many of those PC shortcuts, however, work exactly the same way. There are four main windows which make up Final Cut's user interface: the browser, viewer, timeline, and canvas. To be sure you have all the standard windows displayed while training, open the Window Arrange menu and select Standard. The browser is used to list all the source elements of your project. It allows you to collect and organize video clips, audio clips, still images, and graphics files in one place to use in your editing. The viewer functions as a workshop where you can view, trim, and modify each element of your project. The timeline is a visual representation of your entire project, while the canvas displays the edited project as you work on it. Use the timeline to place clips one after another from left to right to assemble your project. Take note of the tool palette. It contains tools for selecting and altering items in the timeline, viewer, and canvas. Monitoring audio is essential for all projects. Use the audio meter to check audio levels at any time. All computers will occasionally crash or lose power or something else. The happiest editors are also the ones who save often. Make it a habit. Save every few minutes by pressing Command S on the keyboard, or open the File menu and select Save Project. Use the browser to collect and organize the elements of your project. Here's a list of the most common source types. Video clips. When you capture video from a tape, this is the way that file will appear in the browser. A video clip often has an audio track connected to it. Audio clips. Music, sound effects, voiceovers, and other audio can be listed independently. When you import music, this is how the clips appear in the browser. Graphics. Final Cut can import several formats of graphics clips for use in your project, including JPEG, PICT, TIFF, GIF, and Photoshop files. Images from digital still cameras are definitely compatible for use with Final Cut. The arranged series of edited clips you're working on in the timeline is called a sequence. Sequences are also listed in the browser. You can have several sequences in one project file. When the browser gets full, add bins to sort out your source clips. To create a bin, right-click in the browser and select New Bin or New Folder from the menu. Items in the browser can be sorted into bins at any time. Clips listed in the browser are loaded into the viewer. Do this by simply double-clicking a clip. Once the clip you want is loaded into the viewer, there are several ways to watch the material. Use the play button to play the clip at regular speed. Notice the little yellow playhead moving steadily along the white scrubber bar. Press the play button again to pause. The spacebar on the keyboard works the same way. You can click directly on the scrubber bar for quick access to any part of the clip. The playhead moves to whatever position you click on. You can also click and drag to scrub through the clip. A more sophisticated way to view clips is to use the keyboard shortcuts J, K, and L. L plays the clip forward. Press it twice or 3 times to increase the speed of the playback. Use the K key to pause and the J key to play backward at multiple speeds. For more precise control, try using the left and right arrow keys on the keyboard to move the playhead 1 frame at a time. When you edit using Final Cut, you use the timeline window to see a visual representation of your project. Many of the changes you make happen right here as you work with each clip in the video and audio tracks. These tabs show the names of the sequences currently open in the timeline. Each sequence is also listed in the browser. Click the tabs to switch between them. Right-click a tab to close it. The timeline is divided into 2 sections. Visual clips are placed on the top half, including video, titles, and graphics. Audio tracks are placed on the bottom half. When a video clip has associated audio files, they will be linked in the timeline, with the blue video portion lined up above the green audio portion. By using multiple tracks, you'll be able to layer many different elements together in an unlimited variety of ways. The playhead in the timeline operates the same as the one in the viewer. The only difference is that the scrubber bar is located across the top of the window. You can see that there are timecode numbers printed in the scrubber bar. That should give you a general idea of where you are in your project. Click on the scrubber bar at any point in the timeline and the playhead will jump directly to that frame of video. Click in the scrubber and drag left and right. The playhead will drag with the cursor. You can also use all the same keyboard shortcuts we learned earlier. At the top right corner of the timeline window, there are buttons for 2 important features, snapping and linking. If you don't see these buttons, restore them now. Right-click and select Remove, Restore Default. Beginners should leave both of these buttons in the on position while training, so make sure each button shows green highlights. Most of the time, you will trim your clips in the viewer before putting them into a sequence. This is done by setting in and out points, which mark the beginning and end of the section you want to use. Load a clip into the viewer and decide which part to add to the sequence. Position the playhead on the first frame of the part you want to use. Press the I key on the keyboard to set the in point. You will see the in point marker in the scrubber bar. Do the same for the out point. After positioning the playhead, press the O key to set the marker. Once the in and out points are set, you can watch just the selected portion by pressing the Play into Out button, which is just to the left of the Play button. If you change your mind about either point, simply move the playhead to a new position and reset the marker with the I or O key. There are several ways to place a video clip into your sequence. The simplest way is to click and hold the clip in the viewer, then drag it directly onto the timeline. As you drag to the sequence, the clip will be shown as a shadow on the video and audio tracks. This shadow represents where your clip is about to be placed. The position of your mouse cursor may affect the way clips are placed. Beginners should get in the habit of dropping clips when they are showing the solid shadow, not the outline shadow. Drag the mouse cursor up and down on the track to see the difference. When placing clips next to each other, you will start to see the effect of snapping. Each clip will snap to the previous clip as you drag it close. This is a very useful feature that you will use throughout the editing process. Snapping affects many aspects of timeline function. To turn snapping off for any reason, click the snapping toggle in the timeline or press the N key on the keyboard. You can view your entire sequence in the timeline, or you can zoom in. Click once on the timeline to select it before trying these keyboard shortcuts. Eventually, you'll find it necessary to zoom in. Position the playhead where you want to zoom, then press Command+. Press Command- to zoom out. Press Shift-Z to activate Fit to Window. This causes an automatic zoom which reveals the entire sequence in the timeline window. The Fit to Window function also works in the canvas in the viewer. If you find that you've accidentally zoomed in on a video clip, click once on the window and use Shift-Z to correct the zoom.